Hello, my waxy weirdos. Welcome to another wax chat. Today I'm going to be chit-chatting about the direction that I'm going to be taking white bat wax in soon-ish. So let me explain. First of all, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Carla, and I love things that smell good. I love all things vintage. I'm an artist and candle maker. So white bat wax, my lovely, precious, waxy little baby. What's going on with white bat wax? Where have I been? Why have I not been updating? In my previous wax chat video, I discussed how things turned a little bit upside down. If you hear the shaky shakes in the background, the gremlin. Every time he hears me recording, he wakes up, the resident gremlin. So anyway, in my previous wax chat, I discussed how I recently ran into quite possibly the worst problems that candle makers can encounter, and that is things getting discontinued. I know, my store was new, this venture is new, and then all of a sudden, just shortly after launch, womp womp, things begin to go awry, but it's all for good reason. So I launched with a certain number of oils, or rather fragrances, and unfortunately some of those fragrances are comprised of oils that are no longer available. That makes things difficult when I do so much blending and certain scents are very dependent on very specific fragrance oils. Now, in some cases, I can substitute oils. You know, if a vanilla that I'm using is discontinued, there's a good chance that I can find something comparable, if not better. Same with certain coffee notes, certain white florals, things of that nature, things that are generally widely available and widely acceptable, highly palatable for people. Those are typically easy to replicate and or reblend. There are other components, though, that are kind of boutique-y blends or obscure notes that become discontinued for whatever reason, whether they're too expensive to produce or they're not big sellers. So essentially they end up not being money makers for the manufacturers. You know, they have to cut their losses or et cetera, XYZ. There's a myriad of reasons why things go away, but things go away. That was a huge blow, obviously. And then, of course, my vessels that I had been using, the tins, also discontinued. So what was I to do then? My fragrances, a number of fragrances had to go, and my tins. So instead of scrambling and trying to basically reproduce what I was already making, I thought, okay, let me take a step back, let me reevaluate, and let me figure out what I want to do. And what I would like to do is now elevate white bat wax a bit further. White bat wax was conceived with the idea of, I wanted to create a brand that was dark leaning, a little spooky gothy, but with a touch of whimsicality to it. I wanted it to be, yes, a gothic spooky brand that was playful but not entirely juvenile. I didn't want something that was, candy coated, sweet, bright, rainbow gothy looking. I wanted it to be not uber elevated, not necessarily luxury, but I certainly wanted to position this brand into a place that was premium. And I think my branding was a little bit lacking in that arena. And now, given that I'm basically starting over from scratch, I can now pour all of my energies into elevating this branding. So how am I going to do that? Well, first thing is first, no more tins. I may release tins in the future as a travel type of candle, but tins are going to go away. There's just something about glass and ceramic vessels that obviously by their nature feel very, excuse the hacking attack in the background. Mike, what are you eating? I think he found some popcorn on the floor. I was eating popcorn earlier. So anyways, I am going to be updating and elevating my packaging to ceramic candle vessels. And I will also be changing the branding a bit for my wax melts. So all of this kind of snowballed. It started with the snowball of, yes, my fragrance oils and my tins getting discontinued. But late last year, towards the end of 2025, I came up with a collection that was a bit more earthy leaning. It was a little bit more spooky ooky but earthy, my apothecary collection. And that collection was decidedly not gourmand, not sweet, not edible, with the exception of one fragrance. Oh, can you hear the crunching? Oh my God. Pardon the beast. He's down here crunching, I swear. I don't know where he's finding all of these little popcorn kernels. I must have dropped a few. So, anyhow, I released that collection, and I released it in glass containers, just standard glass jars. But I added little embellishments to the jars. I added some twine. I added a little metal bat charm to it. Oh my gosh. Beast. And all of those little elements work together to push me into the direction of wanting to try something different, something more elevated. And then enter, of course, the wax melts. The wax melts that I created for the apothecary collection, I purposely omitted any color from the wax melts. No dyes, no anything, not even the labels are colored. Because I wanted to play with that idea of these scents being more resinous, more earthy, more natural. Now, I did add a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of a mica. It's an eco mica. It's a biodegradable sparkle, very subtle to the top of the candles and to the wax melts. And I think all of that culminated in me looking at that collection and going, oh, I love this. I love the feel of this. I love the look of it. I just love the vibe of this collection. However, that collection, as I keep saying the word earthy, 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 those scents are very herbal and woody and witchy poo-poo incensey. So the color of those vessels is an amber glass. Now, the aesthetic of white bat wax is classic black and white with punches of color as necessary. And I think with the wax melts, because I had released so many different fragrances, which is great, I love that. But the problem that I started to run into is that the brand started to feel a bit more colorful than I intended it to because of the variety of wax melts that I had. You know, seeing everything on the shelves, I had the wax melts in different colors. I have their labels in the corresponding colors. And it was just, it inadvertently resulted in my going, wait a minute, I created a brand that was more playful. I veered more in that direction than I ever intended to. And so now, with my having to basically start over with the branding, kind of, sort of, because the fonts are remaining the same, the treatments and all of that, the logo, everything is the same. It's more or less going to be a change in the colors and the way that I'm handling color with this brand. My candles, when I release the candles, when I re-release them, and then the wax melts, as well as the wax melts when I re-release them, I'm going to be keeping the labels black and white, just classic, clean black and white. The wax melts themselves, I still want them to be a little colorful. So I'm going to be experimenting with different color treatments. I love the idea of being able to see the color of the wax, though, the unadulterated just color of the wax, because different oils react differently with the wax, or they interact differently, I should say. Some of them, the wax retains more of a white look. With other fragrances, such as really thick vanillas, they change the color to a warmer, more vanilla color, and I love that. I love the interplay of how the oil and wax interact, but I would still like to integrate color. So is that going to be with sparkle? Is it going to be a tie-dye? I don't know yet. I've yet to figure that one out. But the labeling will all be black and white moving forward. The packaging will still be black. Everything is going to be black and white. It's just the color of the actual labels and the wax melts. So we're moving in a new direction and I'm excited for it. I am in no rush really to get all of this going because to this very day, White Bat Wax still is very much a passion project. It is more of a hobby than it is a side hustle because I still have not turned a profit on this brand whatsoever. Starting a candle brand is very expensive. It is truly a labor of love, and I'm at the phase right now where I can simply experiment and see what feels right for me and see what resonates with my audience and with my potential future audience. So that's where we are. Having said that, I would like to get rid of, that sounds so harsh, but I would like to sell through, we'll say, my current stock. And I would like my stock to, at least some of the profits, to pay for this brand glow up. So what I'm going to be doing by the time this video is up, I will have already put all of the items on my website on sale that are going to be changed. So basically every single item on my website, with the exception of the Apothecary collection, is on sale. Certain fragrances, the ones that I'm no longer going to be able to carry because I was unable to either procure the oil or substitute a blend, those will be clearly marked in the description. It will say something like, this fragrance is never coming back. So it will be very clear to those of you who have become fans of particular fragrances. If you would like to stock up, now is the time because they will not come back. But as for the rest of them, everything is going to be on sale, even the ones that will be returning in new packaging. So if you've been wanting to try White Bat Wax, now is your chance. Candles, wax melts, whatever is available will be listed on the website, and there will be no restocks until I relaunch. So the site, once I sell through most of the stock, the site will go on a temporary pause. I'll put up a landing page that says, be right back or to be continued or what have you. So that's where we are. I would like to ideally sell through my stock within the next 1 to 3 months at the most so that I can relaunch sometime in the fall, maybe even late 2026. Ideally, the fall is when I would like to relaunch. So that is my update. That is today's wax chat. Once again, if you have been waiting, if you have been itching to try White Bat Wax, now is your chance to grab everything except for the Apothecary collection on sale. To those of you who have become fans of certain fragrances that are going away forever, I'm so sorry, but I am powerless. The good news is new fragrances will be coming. I've already formulated. Do I want to tell you how? No, I'm just going to say that I have formulated new fragrances and I'm going to be launching them. Well, we'll discuss my launch plans later when we get there. But for now, just know some fragrances are going away forever. Others will remain, but they will be going sleepy sleep until the relaunch. And then I will be launching brand new fragrances. And I will be launching all new fragrances with the brand Glow Up. I'm excited for you all to see how beautiful this brand is going to look. It's not going to look a whole lot different, but it's going to look a little different, and it's going to be for the better. I've already created my prototypes and I've already packaged them up for myself so I can see them, and I'm just, it looks better. This is the right direction for White Bat Wax. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to my yuck. Thank you to those of you who have purchased any of my delicious, yummy things from White Bat Wax. Go shop if you have not already done so, and keep smelling good. My weirdos, I will see you in the next one.